Hi everyone, thanks for joining. This week we are going to be making a galaxy theme inspired Swiss roll out of melt and pour soap. If you like watching melt and pour soap videos or want ideas on designs or maybe just watch me experiment with soap, go ahead and like this channel and subscribe and like the video. Leave a comment down below if you have questions. Right now what I'm doing with the soap bases for this tutorial is I'm just adding in colors. I've got about 2 to 2.5 ounces worth of soap base colors, and I'm just mixing in the micas. I'm spraying a little bit of rubbing alcohol to kind of help disperse the mica into the clear liquid soap. And once this is kind of starting to get a skin on these soaps, I'm going to go ahead and pour it into the mold that I have sitting over there in the corner. And I'm just going to let that part sit up, and this is going to be the inside. The colors that I'm going to be using today are from Nurture's soap. We've got Proud Peacock. It's a very pretty blue. I love it. It's probably my favorite. Wild Violet, which is more of a shimmer, eco glitter kind of thing. It's not so much, it doesn't have a lot of pigment to it. And then we're going to use Queen of Hearts, which is very pink, and like you could see purple undertones when the light hits it. It's actually a really pretty color. I'm also going to be topping the soap off with some glitter today. And these are the different glitters that I'm going to be using, also from Nurture soap. So this is the soap mold that I'm using. I'm also using a Pringles can. These are the little snack size ones. So I figured it was about the same size as the actual mold itself. So as you saw too, I'm also adding the fragrance High Tide from Candle Science. It is a ocean sort of smell. I love those types of fragrance oils. I thought it'd be perfect for a space or galaxy theme soap. So I'm just going ahead, like I said, waiting till the soaps were kind of getting a skin on them, and then I'm going to go ahead and pour them in this mold here and then let them sit up. Once they were poured into this mold, I did let them sit for probably about 20 to 25 minutes, just so that all the soap was hard. And then I took anything that was left over and I put it into the little ball mold, which I'm sorry that you can't really see it right now. And I just kind of mixed those, and I'm going to use those as the toppers. I wasn't sure if I was going to need 3 or 4 for this. I only ended up using 3. If you fill that whole mold, like all 9 cavities, it's about 2 ounces. So I didn't really need that much. I just kind of filled them up and then put the rest into the purple soap mold there. Okay, and now we're back. The soap has been sitting for about, like I said, 20 to 25 minutes, and we're just going to kind of like loosely and gently take it out of the mold here, and it is still sort of soft, which is kind of what I wanted, and that way we can kind of bend it and mold it the way we need to. So you could see the colors. I love how the purple and the blue really look in this. I wish I would have used a little less pink, but I think the end results came out really well. I am using the heat from my hands because it did kind of sit up a little long to kind of mold this, so that's why you see me kind of rolling it back and forth in my hands and just trying to make it bendable without breaking it. There was a couple of times I did kind of bend it a little too hard and it broke it, so I just tried to, like I said, use my hands and the warmth of my body heat to kind of warm it up and get it to fit in the mold the way I wanted. So it took a couple of times of me, you know, just playing around with it. I didn't really want it touching the outsides of the mold, so I kind of tried to bring everything in a little bit tighter off camera. And then once it got it to where I wanted, I went ahead and made sure I scored this really good with a knife and then spritzed it down with rubbing alcohol and then put it back in the mold so that the soap base the secondary soap base that I'm going to pour on it adheres nicely. And like I said, this is just a clear melt and pour base, and then the other melt and pour base that I have sitting on the side is a shea butter base. Both of these are from Wholesale Supplies Plus, and they're the Crafter's Choice soap base. I am really liking those out of the different melt and pour soap bases that I've purchased. Now, once the white melt and pour base was kind of starting to get us skin on it as well, I felt confident enough to go ahead and pour it, but I did only pour a tiny bit at the beginning, and I just poured enough to kind of fill the bottom area. And then I kind of tried to reposition the soap the best I could to make sure it was exactly where I wanted before I put all the soap in there, and I let it sit up for, I would say, close to a minute before I poured everything in there, just to make sure the soap temp was really cold and it wasn't going to melt the clear base. I didn't have quite enough to top it off, so I did have to melt down a little bit more, and I think I poured that secondary part a little bit hot, and it did start to melt the top area that I poured after what you see here on the camera. So just be careful of that, and you can kind of see how it kind of melted a little bit. And then you can also see where I didn't have the insert. It was butt up right next to the can, so it kind of, you know, had an issue there. But we're gonna fix that and cover it. I am using this 1 pound soap mold just to kind of contain the soap. You can put it on a tray or something to kind of help so you don't have a big soapy mess all over your counter. We are going to, oh, here are the little topper embeds that I was using for the soap. They came out really pretty. Like I said, I love how that purple kind of shines in there with the blue. It just is the perfect sort of galaxy theme combo, and it's really beautiful in person. The camera picks up pretty well, but like I said, if you see it in person, it's even better. So I would highly recommend those colors if you're going for like a galaxy theme type soap, or honestly, if you just like blues and purples, they will make a really pretty soap. So these are just another close-up shot of the embeds. I am going to go ahead though and melt down some more melt and pour soap. I think I did about 2 ounces to an ounce of the clear glycerin base, and I'm going to add activated charcoal to it. So I have a little container here I set aside, and I'm going to scoop out about 1/4 of a tablespoon of activated charcoal. I don't have it quite all the way full. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the container. And you can use your fragrance oil if you want to, or rubbing alcohol, but I'm going to use glycerin. It's okay because I just wanted the melt and pour to be a little bit more runny, so I'm just using double of what I used activated charcoal, and kind of add that in, and then I'm going to mix it up, and then once it's fully mixed up, I'm going to add that into the clear melt and pour that I went ahead and melted down. See how it's nicely mixed in there? You don't have any clumps in the soap anymore, so I would recommend mixing like activated charcoal. You can mix your micas this way, or if you have a soap where you're using clays, you can do it that same way too. You just kind of mix it in. I wouldn't do more than a tablespoon per pound typically, because it's going to make your melt and pour soap kind of runny. So you do want to keep that in mind. The more you use, the runnier it gets. So once that was mixed, I just went ahead and, like I said, I'm keeping it in this mold to kind of contain the soap mess, and I'm scoring the top so the activated charcoal layer that I'm pouring in there kind of sticks well. I also tried to wait until that soap was starting to get a little bit of a skin and make sure that's kind of like hardening up a little bit so it doesn't melt and it doesn't slide off the soap too much. I did want a little bit of a runny look because obviously it's going to be like the frosting on a Swiss roll, so I kind of wanted to mimic that as much as I could. But yeah, you just kind of get it in there and play with it, and then once there was enough of this soap put down, I went ahead and added the little blue and purple sort of berry shape, whatever you want to call those, onto the top. And I just went ahead and stuck them directly on there as the soap was setting up. And I didn't have an issue with them falling off or anything like that. And this is the final touch on the soap. Of course, what fun would it be, or what kind of galaxy soap would it be if it didn't have glitter on top? So I'm just taking the little spoon that I have, and then I'm just doing it from way up high and kind of tapping it so the glitter kind of disperses nice and pretty. That way there aren't any like areas with big globs or clumps on top of the Swiss roll. And here's kind of a up close shot. The lighting's not that great, so you can't really tell how shimmery and pretty the soap is until you see it in person. I let that sit up for probably about an hour after I put the black on top, and then I went ahead and cut it down. And I did forget to mention the part where I poured the white soap base in with the glycerin swirl. I let that sit up for probably about 3 or 4 hours just to make sure everything was hard, because I didn't want to cut into these and then have like a smushy mess in the middle and then the soap just ooze out everywhere. That would have been horrible. So you want to wait a while, especially when you're doing something like that. Just kind of be patient. I know it's hard. I'm horrible at being patient. But here's the inside, and I love the way these turned out. It is hard to see it on the camera, but you can kind of see the swirls of the soap. I think if I were to do this soap again, I would kind of reverse what I did design-wise. Like I would make the swirl in the mold itself and the long mold, and have that be the curly part, and then do the blending of the colors, the galaxy colors actually in the soap mold, kind of where the white is, because I think the color combination would have came out a little bit better, and you would see the detail of that swirling action or the galaxy action a little bit better. So I just wanted to thank you guys all for watching this from beginning to end. It helps out the channel so much. And like I said, if you like videos like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. I try to upload something every week. Most of the videos I do right now are melt and pour. Every once in a while I do other types of videos. So thank you guys, and see you next week.